Tim Ryan sat down for a Fox News town hall, which was very fascinating because when you have a town hall like this, the audience isn't going to be particularly fond of you, right? If it's a Fox News audience. But if you go onto a platform like that and stick to your points and make clear what you believe in, then I think it's absolutely great to do, to reach out to people, especially when you're running in a state like Ohio, through networks they watch, right? Even if it's going to be not the most kind audience to you. We're going to look at a few clips, but I was very proud of Tim Ryan's performance in this. First, him talking about legalizing marijuana. And what's cool is he kind of wins the crowd over at a few moments, as you'll see, and they cheer for him.
I think we need to legalize marijuana. I think...
Well, you said all nonviolent criminals out, for sure.
I'm sorry?
You said all nonviolent criminals out, for
I
sure.
think the focus is marijuana crimes, in my mind, right? We spend, this may be the stupidest expenditure of federal money and in public taxpayer money in the history of our country. You get caught with marijuana, then you end up in prison. And that is insane for us. We should tax the marijuana and we should put it into addiction treatment. We should use it to keep fentanyl and these hardcore drugs out of our country, out of our society. We should invest in the shop class. We should invest into early childhood education. There's so many better ways to spend this money than locking somebody up for marijuana crimes. And especially when white and black people use marijuana equally, black people are 6 times more likely to go to prison. Like, that's an unfair system.
Yeah. And wild that we still have not properly addressed that. Then here's him getting asked about his abortion stance. And it seems Democrats have finally settled on how they should respond to this, because there was this weird moment where this question started getting asked a lot because of the overturning of Roe v. Wade, and a lot of Democrats would avoid giving a particular time when they think the line should be drawn. So the question here is, Lindsey Graham's abortion ban is 15 weeks. You're saying that's bad. Where would you want the line to be drawn? And he just clearly says, Roe v. Wade, viability, easy. But for some reason, a lot of Democrats will go, listen, we have to protect the right. Yeah. But it seems like you're avoiding the question. So just be clear. Roe v. Wade, viability, and the standards that were set by that, ruling was perfectly reasonable.
Story or two every single week of people, women who are in this tragic situation. Their life becomes at risk. They have to go to Illinois. Now, J.D. Vance wants a national abortion ban, and he wouldn't be happy with these people going to Illinois. He wants them to have to get a passport and go to Canada. He called rape inconvenient.
This is after 15 weeks is what he's talked about. We're going to ask him all these questions.
After 15 weeks.
So what's your number? What you say you don't want it afterward? Is there a number?
I think we go back to Roe v. Wade. Roe v. Wade was in the third term. In the third term of Roe v. Wade, you could only do it if there was some kind of medical emergency. We don't want J.D. Vance and Ted Cruz and all these guys in the doctor's office.
Do you think that the Democratic bill...
Perfect. Just, I like how he also highlighted what Roe v. Wade also allowed for was particular exceptions after viability, because the life of the mother sometimes is threatened, and we've seen that not be properly put into the structure of these laws passed in Republican states. And thus, I just read a story of this woman who the fetus died, but she had to carry this dead fetus, which it can then make you infertile the rest of your life, because the procedure to get the fetus out was being considered an abortion, so she wasn't allowed to get it. It's terrible. Here's one more moment from this town hall from Tim Ryan.
Tax that President Biden mentioned, a tax on oil companies' profits. Are you for that?
I haven't looked at exactly what he wants to do. I think the fact that oil companies are making huge profits and having stock buybacks right now, while average person here is paying nearly $4 a gallon, I think that's wrong. And I think we need to crack down. We need to crack down on that.
We're going to move on.
It's funny, you can see there's some pro Tim Ryan people there, but the ones on camera here are not. And it was interesting to me when I was watching this town hall at how they would just refuse to clap at anything. Really? You're not going to clap whenever we're saying the oil companies shouldn't be price gouging us? Come on. You got to agree with that. But the point he's making is absolutely true. You want to talk about inflation. You want to be talking about... Shut up, Tim. You want to be talking about high gas prices, etc. Well, we can't have that discussion without talking about the insane price hikes we've seen that go way beyond just adjusting for inflation on the part of these companies. It's capitalizing off of inflation, or exploiting the narrative that inflation was going to happen to be able to raise prices a bunch without people thinking as much about it. And so that needs to be discussed every single time these topics come up. And I think even the most right-wing person knows the Republican Party is not going to be the one to extra tax the corporations who are doing this, or Biden pushing for a windfall profits tax. Republicans would never touch their beautiful, perfect corporations making their profits. Then here's another moment that was really good.
January 6th, they beat up 140 police officers, killed one. Okay, they killed one. We all watched the video. And
Let him finish, please.
And I'm happy to have this conversation. I'm not afraid to have this conversation. These are the conversations we need to have in this country. I welcome you guys. Let's just be respectful, but I'm not afraid to stand here and defend my position. On January 6th, 140, I sit on the subcommittee that funds the Capitol Police. These are my friends. 140 of them got hurt. And some of them still can't go back to work because they were beat up with lead pipes, they were sprayed with pepper spray, they were beaten with flagpoles. Okay? They were trying to overthrow the government. They were trying to stop the peaceful transition of the government. What else were they doing there? They're going to kill Mike Pence, right? They want to kill Nancy Pelosi. Now somebody's beating up Nancy Pelosi's husband with a hammer. J.D. Vance raised money for the insurrectionists. He made several social media posts to raise money for them. Now, again, I don't care what your politics are, but Americans should say no. We have to say no to that.
We're going to try to get as many questions as we...
Yes, absolutely. Again, some of those people in the front just refusing to clap. Okay, so you're pro political violence. Yay for that. And then him going after what we've talked about a lot recently in today's show as well, the bizarre and horrible response we've seen from the right wing to the attack of Paul Pelosi.
Movement happening. And we just saw, and as I was watching the previous show on Fox, what happened to Paul Pelosi, I think, is an absolute tragedy. Okay? I don't care what your politics are. I really don't. I don't care how you feel about Nancy Pelosi and her politics or anything. She is the third-ranking constitutional officer in the United States of America. President, Vice President, Speaker of the House. Her husband is 82 years old and got beat over the head with a hammer. And that is wrong across the board. But now we have people saying, well, it's wrong, but maybe if you're a Democrat. We had right-wing talk radio show hosts saying that they should go bail this guy out. What Donald Trump Jr. posted, he posted a pair of underwear that grandpa would wear with a hammer on it and said, "This is my Halloween uniform. I'm going as Paul Pelosi." That is an atrocious thing to do. I don't care. I'm sorry. Look, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I don't care what your politics are. It's not about that. Is this the kind of country?
Yeah. So what we've been talking about extensively, no matter what you feel about any political figure, you should not be on board or joke about or cast doubt upon the facts of a situation where one of the husbands of them got beat in an attempt by the attacker to get to the Speaker of the House and break her kneecaps. So it's just one of those sad moments where you realize that there is no common sense. People say a lot, have some common sense, because it's just not common and it's not something we can agree upon. It should be so easy and simple to say, wow, that happened, that's horrible, and we need to figure out what ideologies, what rhetoric led to it so that we can prevent future things like that in the future. But that's not at all what we've seen. Instead, it's either a laughing matter, mwahaha, this is my Halloween costume, mwahaha, here's an animation of him having sex with his attacker, or outright conspiracy theories driven around this event. Oh, it was actually him and his gay lover, and that's what the story is, even though no evidence. Or like Donald Trump, it's this, there's some weird questions, but I don't know, I'm not going to talk about it, and not properly condemning it. So it makes you really less hopeful about the future, but I derive hope out of believing that this political movement won't be around much longer in a political sense. Deeply, deeply against any like violence, of course, but I'm saying hopefully politically they just lose and lose and lose and fall out of relevancy. And then a good progressive movement takes over and leads to a much better future. Thank you so much for watching. If you want to be a part of what makes this show possible, plus get access to the full video version of the show hours before any of the clips are uploaded to YouTube, plus get access to an extra full show every Saturday that only members can see, you can do so by going to patreon.com/Luke Beasley. That's patreon.com/Luke Beasley, and there is a link in the description.